what are they going to do? Go right back, hustle again, and still, but yeah, still we vote for these people. Oh, this man used to be this. Yeah, he was this. What have he done? What did he do to improve your life? Nothing. Nothing. He didn't do anything to improve your life. But you are on the street wearing a t-shirt, you yelling all over the place. Leave your house in the morning. You could be doing something good. Leave your home in the morning. You're going all over the place. Oh, this man, that he I want. Oh, that other person I want. This and this. And now you see what's happening. You know, when will Liberian get to learn? When will we just sit back and think that this person is not the right person? You know, that this person cannot lead the country. See how far we at. Other countries, you go there. You know, places like Ghana acting like the America for Liberians. When you're sick, you run to Ghana. When you need this, you run to Ghana. Small African countries that we were far ahead of. Now, they are like in America for us. When we go there, like, oh wow, go to Ghana. Oh, you see this. You go to Ghana, you see the other one. That what you want to do? Is that how we're going to be? We're going to be in the same place all the time. Have you ever thought about life? How can I change my situation? I want to do better. I want to move out. I want to change. I don't want to be in this condition all the time. Every year, you go to Liberia because they have brought so much suffering on you guys. You know that you see people in the 20s, they're like they're in the 50s because things are so hard. No food. Some people wake up in the day, they don't have food for they and the children. Everything is happening. Alex, welcome, welcome. We are not on Facebook. We're trying to
Thank
see
you.
what we can work it up on Facebook. But I was just saying something here how the politicians have misled our people for years. And you go to Liberia, you see people in the 20s looking like they're in the 50s because of the hardship. Some of them don't even have regular meal a day, 2 meal a day. You can't get it. Don't even have a job. They go to town and try to hustle. And Liberians are still the same. Nothing is changing for them. And yet and still will make the same mistake. With common sense should help us to know that some of the people that we continuously get in the street and walk all over this place don't mean anything for us. But yet and still we follow them. I mean, it's sad, very, very sad. And Liberians need to think. We're using country like Ghana now as our new America. When Liberians go to Ghana, they come back. Oh, you see Ghana, you see this. Oh, this happened. If Ghana didn't have that law for the country, they didn't put in certain things for the country. They won't be where they are. Basic thing, like even the law, respecting the law, they didn't do that. Ghana won't be where they are today. But we continuously do the same thing over and over, thinking that there will be a change. Alex, welcome, man, to the closing argument. I mean, we're still trying to work and see what we'll get on Facebook. If not, we'll just do 1 hour show and then we'll be dismissed. But Alex, welcome. Welcome to the closing argument.
Yo, thank you, Dr. Peabody. It's good to be here. Happy Friday to you.
We live. I see we are live now on Facebook.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
we are
are
live.
live on Facebook.
Yeah, we are live
Okay.
now on Facebook.
Uh,
Okay, great, great, great. Yeah,
pleasant Friday to you and all the listeners. Good to be back on the closing argument. Uh, Again, yeah, the right what you were saying concerning where our country is and how far behind. People who haven't left Liberia or don't get the opportunity to leave. It's unfortunate because they all they see is maybe Broad Street and Cinco, and they call that development because
yeah.
that's all they know.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just go not even to Accra, but go to one of the other cities in Ghana, Takrady,
Yeah.
for instance, Cape Coast, for instance, go to, Cote d'Ivoire, Yamoussoukro, go to even Ouagadougou, and you'll be amazed. You don't even got to come to America, and you already look at your leaders different. But we've had no little to no development in our country. We've had
Yeah.
poor leadership, and I hope that going forward we do something to change that.
You're
Uh,
right. You're correct. I think it's all about leadership and leadership. And we haven't found a leader to really bring the change. Because 6 months. into this new government, 6 months into this new government, we are already seeing foul being played. We're already seeing corruption picking up to the basic things that were set up by no previous government, the anti-corruption, the PPCC, and all those things, and everything just seems to be a mess.
My friend Ben Savior is here
Ben
today.
Samuels, yeah, Ben Samuels is going to run the show today. He is moderating.
You will run the show.
Yeah, Ben. I'm glad you made it, Ben. That's good. But yeah, but Chairman, good to see you.
Why do we look so different? Everything looks different today.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks better. It looks nice. I like
black.
it.
I don't like
I
the
think
black.
that OBS.
Why is this? Why you look better? It's black.
yeah, we kind of different because we didn't come on originally with our closing argument page. It seemed like
Okay, we need to work on that though.
yeah, so we just because initially we're not even on before, but I thank God we are back on now. We are on Facebook. So welcome, guys. Let's get into something, Ben. Let's talk about the politics. Serena Silva was on yesterday.
Your country giving God a hard time about Taiwan. Your country.
I think God even pay attention again.
Yeah, man. Liberia, I don't know. I posted something the other day and I said, you mean so Michael Francis and prophecy? There was this thing that was passing around. I don't know if it's Michael Francis prophecy or no, or that. But I was told that even the current president used to share it around because according to the prophecy, it said that after a young man will rule the country, right? And the young man will come from the southeast. And the young man will cause so much problem in the country. And then a wise old man from up north will assume the presidency. And everything will turn perfect. And we will have, there will be, Liberia will be the land of milk and honey. And so, I was thinking, I'm like, okay, fine. Maybe some of us were wrong, right? Maybe the wise old man is Joe Buckeye. But the way Joe Buckeye going on, so I'm just looking. I'm like, okay, is Michael Francis prophecy really going to come true, or is it just going to be that even the prophecy now can't even fix? It's interesting. It's interesting, Peabody, and it's sad. It's sad because and I've always said, and I think everybody knows that, and true, everybody, we talk about this. None of us are perfect. We're not perfect people. Nobody's perfect. There's no perfect man or woman walking on this earth. But I think I find it hard to believe, and I always struggle trying to figure out why is it so hard for our leaders to do the right things. I don't know. Is this something that happens? Alex, maybe you can chime in on this. Is this something that happens to them? Do they? I was speaking with somebody very close to the president. He was very close to him during the campaign, and he was expressing his disappointment to me. And so he actually called me and said, man, I just called to apologize because not apologize for voting for Joe Biden, but he was saying, we burned a lot of bridges. We went and we attacked people. He said, even you, people went personal with you and they were calling you all these names. And so he's saying, I was one of those people, but I'm just calling to apologize because we should never have allowed politics to get to that level. And I kept saying to him, I said, look, for me, I never really took it personal. It's the space. Politics that's the space we're in. But it's just sad that people, went to the level they went. But then he said something. He said, the fascinating thing is that everything that they agreed upon, even John Malu said it the other day, I think on Spoon, right? Everything that they agreed to do, the president has literally threw it out of the window. Even when it came to the appointment of officials, they had to, there was this vetting thing that they were supposed to do. He was supposed to name, I think, only the traditional top 5 ministers that the president, you know what I'm saying? Like the defense, finance, even finance. I think they said there was a little debate. He even said, look, we should look at vetting the process, right? But presidential affairs, defense, finance, I think justice, and then somebody, and there's another one, right? That's the kind of like the traditional 5 that you would get on the night of the inauguration. The president, meaning the president already not think about that, right? The person who's become president, I think about that. They have their folks and they want to go ahead and make these people. But according to this insider, what he said to me was that it was agreed upon that all the other positions would have gone through a competitive vetting process. That Joe Boyka made it very clear to them that he was not a president that was interested in doing business as usual. He was not a president. In fact, he had no intention of running for re-election. So he was not worried about political payback, right? I mean, from a political standpoint, Alex, if you want to run for re-election, then you're like, okay, I gotta take care of all my people. I gotta make sure nobody get vexed with me. But he made it very clear to them that, listen, that's not what I'm gonna be about. We'll throw it out there. Let's open a competitive process. The qualified people will go ahead and get this. The only thing I ask for you is that you just bring me two names. The two best names, right? And I will pick one, right? Don't just bring one name to me. Just bring me two and let me look at the characters. I will interview them and then I will go ahead and make my determination. But from what we've been told, I mean, I do everybody know that that's not what has happened. So I don't know, Alex, can you talk to us? What happens to our presidents when they take the oath? Is it a water that they drink? Is it the mansion? Is it, I don't know. What happens? I mean, you won't be president, so
I think you've been closer to the president. You've been closer to the presidency, so you know much more than I would. But just on my own observation about Liberia, right? And this is just not for the presidency. I think where we went wrong in Liberia is we giving the president too much power. Okay, and once you give a man or woman too much power, power corrupts. Absolutely. I don't care. It can be the best man. I don't care. The man can have all the intentions.
Yeah.
That's the problem in Liberia. The problem isn't the individual. The problem is the way the power that was given. This goes back all the way from Totma time, because prior to Totma, Liberia had a much more efficient, much more collaborative, transition. The True Party, people could come up, rise to the top. The president couldn't just do certain things. But when Totma got there, right, Totma assumed a lot of powers, that if he didn't like you, for instance, or he felt you was a threat, he could circumvent all the traditional processes and he could just, sideline you. And that has continued up to this day. And I'll give you an example. You work in corporate America. Even here, if you take a CEO, if we saw that during the early 2000s, how some CEOs started paying themselves a lot of money. I mean, they went crazy. Some of them were chairman and CEO. So they started to take away the chairmanship now and say, no, we don't want chairman CEO anymore. So that's the problem in Liberia. And until that is addressed, where the president don't have all this power, that authority, that what you call imperial presidency, nothing will change. That's just my viewpoint on it. Even you put me or you, because we're humans.
True.
So it takes a president to come and say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take away these powers, right? We're going to set up a board that's going to vet people and let it be in law. So even if I wanted to go against it, I won't have the authority. And that's where the real issue.
So is it only the power, or is it, and maybe people can chime in here, is it only the power, or is it the lack of systems to checkmate? Because the presidency of the United States is also powerful, right? Our Constitution, Alex, is modeled after the US Constitution. I think what works in this country is the systems are in place. So like you can have a Donald Trump who will come and may want to overturn the election, but the system stood up, right?
And I can respond to that real quickly.
Yeah.
I was going back and forth. The difference in America, the way America is structured, even if you put anyone who isn't doing a job, America will still function. For instance,
that's what I'm saying.
American economy is run by the Federal Reserve Bank.
Yeah.
Right? They make most of the decision, right? And that entity is run by a board of governors, 12 governors throughout the country. So they're not even appointed by the president. Only the board is appointed, but the governors are not appointed, right? So the president can't control the economy. In fact, the president is at the mercy of the Federal Reserve, right? So you have that check and balance already. Another thing is the state in America. The states in America, the 50 states have governors that are elected, which the president does not appoint.
True.
So you have another second check there. So Liberia is completely different. Liberia, the president can appoint superintendent, mayors, now everything.
So So I agree with you.
that's the
I agree
problem.
with you on that. I agree with you on that. People are jump in if you want. If you don't, I agree with you on that because obviously, yes, there's the federal system. We have a unitary. We have a unitary republic. I was talking specifically on the issue of the president, right? Because if you look at the way our presidential powers are structured, the presidential power should be checkmated by the legislature, right? The legislature is the one that has the power to impeach a president. The legislature can decide that, you know what, we're not going to pass a national budget because you've given yourself $2 million and our constituency don't have what they need to have, right? So that's why that's the reason I asked you the question whether it has to do with more of a system thing and the more of people having the political will to stand up, to know their power. Look, example, look at Musa and Peabody. Musa comes into the national legislature. One of the reasons Musa is very independent minded is because he has his own money, right? He's not depending on you hearing Musa crying for $40,000 car. You hearing Musa crying that, oh, didn't give me my allowance here or didn't give me my stipend yet. So he can get up and say, you know what, let's audit the system. He can be the only representative that can write a letter and say, you know what, let's audit the national legislature because you know what, I ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing here for me, right? So is there a need? Does it mean that we need to figure out a way how to get the system working? Because the president, like you said, Alex, the president is just too powerful. The president, people just, it's one of those things where you shake your head and you're like, oh my God, you see people who you would never imagine, but the all-powerful presidency, the imperial presidency has taken hold. And like you rightly said, it's not going to change because everybody that gets in there, they get like Joe Parker criticize people going to the airport to welcome Weah to stay on the line. Now he's doing it because I guess it's the trappings, right? He loves the trappings. Who doesn't want to get out from a car and walk on a red carpet and shaking and everybody bowing and shaking their hands and doing those things, right? So I don't know. And people that come in and just join us.
Look, as you said, welcome Chief Centenary George. Like you said, Chairman Ben. I think for me, I think it's the willpower, having a leader with the passion, with the vision to say, I'm going to come and follow what my dream is, what I want to do. Liberia have not had a leader, and I don't want to go there, but I knew from day one that it would have been difficult for President Boakai. Because having the willpower, how you talk about, I'm coming, he criticized the previous government. He criticized them for corruption. He talked about what they were not doing. When I come, this will change. We will no more. You will suffer. No more. You will do this. He doesn't have the willpower to do, because we see from the onset, corruption started. He came up, like you talk about, the first 5 people that should have been named or the best that should go there. I've had people who have appointed a deputy minister and they travel to see the family and came back. Why come to tell the family that name was removed from the list and they had another name that was put on them? Having the willpower, a leader, don't come into power to control, to control himself. He must come there to lead the Liberian people. A leader takes control. A leader don't come to power and take side. He comes in and take control because he is the man. And if he fails, the entire country. A leader is like a dad. We all know that. You the leader, you the dad in the home. And the kind of example you demonstrate to your kids, that's how they're going to follow you. They're going to see those things and follow. Liberia have not had leaders. We look at Ghana when Jerry Rawlings took over. If Jerry Rawlings had not put his foot down and said, look, I'm going to deal with corruption. People were stealing mills up and down. Rawlings started persecuting people and even killing them. I lived in Ghana many years. I used to sit right home and mills would come to my home and nothing. You can even put it in the envelope and you can see the $100 in the envelope. Nobody take it because Rawlings was firm and he stood by it. But a leader that want to rule, they don't have the willpower to do it. They just sit out there and make big mouth. And when they get in power, it's all about themselves. It's not about the Liberian people. It's about themselves. It's about what they want to see. Their own agenda. It's not the agenda of the Liberian people. It's not the mistake Liberian people make. Sit down, study people, read them. Some of these folks been around forever. You have not seen them do anything good. Nothing good. Any major thing. Say this guy is a man of his word. You jump behind, Barker had been there 40 years. He worked in government 40 years. He got 44 years experience. He never stole one day. He never did nothing. See what's happening now. Like you said, Musa is standing up for what? Chairman, Jonathan Kofa, J. Kofa. He came in and started to push on real strong reform within in the house. And what happened today? And they're doing all kinds of things to sabotage him. They're doing all kinds of things to sabotage his plan. Complete reform. He said, we'll audit the legislature. We'll come up with, now they come up with all kinds of stuff against him, holding funds that should be put towards the legislature and they move on. They're trying to do that because they don't want change. And the leader who should be enforcing the change is even part of it's worse.
Thank you. Dominic George can join us. Studio, can y'all please try to reduce the echo bang and orange thing a little bit? I feel like it's covering my face. I don't know if it's just me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's taking one side of your face.
Yeah. So
guys, you guys can hear me?
Yeah,
yes, clear.
Yes, guys, it's good to be back, man. I hear myself.
What are you drinking at glucose?
No water, man.
Oh, okay. I just trying to make sure I see glucose. We can't hear you, Dominic.
We'll hear you first.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, just from Kingrave, celebrating my sister's 25th wedding.
Yeah, I saw you on live.
Yeah, just from there, and I decided to stop by the studio because honestly, guys, our show is the country really listen to our show, and that's what it impressed me. Today is Friday night. I could have been someplace enjoying myself, but because people listen to this show, decided I said, look, I prioritize it. So we are doing a real great job. People are concerned each time we complain that we need support, and we really need support for our show to keep the show going. I told them that it's not easy to keep the show going. It's tough, and as contrary to what people said, we're being supported by people from the old government. Now they know that we are really doing our best to keep the show on. We our supporters, our viewers. That's why I encourage you to put the cash app up. People, for our viewers, it's time to help us. We really need your help. Put the cash app up. Let raise funds to keep the show going. We really need a show to keep on going. People don't understand, but it's a tough thing. But let me just chime in. The situation in Liberia today is that's trending. Is about this Senate retreat. It's causing a lot of problem. The senators, people feel that they were insensitive to the Liberian people for taking all that money to go and be Buchanan for 2 or 3 days retreat when they could have even stayed at the ministerial complex here and do a retreat like the cabinet did. And I see the supporters are defending why they went to Buchanan, which is, as a usual thing, defend it. But it's just unacceptable. It's insensitive. JFK needs medication and a lot of pressing issues here. University of Liberian students are crying for a bus, and things are happening. And for the pro tem and her Senate colleagues to go to Buchanan and spend all that money and dish out 10,000 each senator just for a few days, it's just unacceptable. There's no justification for that. These people get paid monthly, almost around the same amount of $10,000 they get paid, and other benefits. But then to go and get extra $10,000, and say, oh, for this engagement, it's just not fair to the Liberian people. But we call on the Liberian people to take notice of this and to start supporting these people for this kind of behavior. And we'll call them out for it. We're not hesitant to call them out. They can stay off NN platform is a business. One thing I know, people are now that today our instant conversation with some people, and people are now saying that since we only listen to the U.S. government, yes, I won't be surprised. Some of them will face sanctions soon. Because that's the only time they can get nervous. Had it not been the U.S. government, Nukwe, Chair, all have been running for pro tem yesterday. So because they were sanctioned, they all fell from under the race. And now again, the trend continues. and just not fair to the people. And we'll continue to call them out for it. And don't not underestimate the power of the media. You heard about the former Chief Justice. They were trying to give her compassionate leave, but I heard the Deputy Minister for Information and Technical Services, Diana Santos, saying that it was not true. She was not giving such a leave. She's still in prison. We got to still verify that. And so we are monitoring all these things that are happening. And so far, we just got to continue doing our best to keep the show alive and keep it on, keep informing Liberian people, because the people need to know what's happening in their government. And so I just want to say thanks to all my colleagues for what we do every day to come out, take our time off our families and our business schedules to come in and host us these shows. It's not an easy thing to do. So let's continue to do our best. Put our cash app up. People support us, please. We need your support at this time. I'm in the studio with these guys, and they are here, and it's reality. It's late, but they have to be here with us. And some of them go home and change to come quickly for the show and to keep it going. Just gotta keep the show going to help these guys to keep them to produce our show, or else we will not have a show on the radio. As I was driving to the studio, our show is being on the radio. As you're passing by shops, you guys are loud on the radio. People are listening to you guys. That's how come I know that you guys are up. Go listen to the show. You pass by shops coming along the belt coming towards this place. You hear all you guys talking, and you guys are making a difference because people listen and take you guys serious. And just before I end, when you get to know that you're doing a good job, when people come to you, up to you, and say, hello, Tomlin George, I'm happy to see you. Just now I was at the program, some people came around me. So, Tomlin George, happy to see you, man. And people were showing me their families. Here's Tomlin George guy, you over here on the radio. Here's the guy. And people were taking pictures with me. You guys are doing a good job. Thank you for informing us what you guys happen in the country. So that's how we know we are doing a good job, guys. Just keep it up. It's not easy, but we'll continue to do our best.
Thank you, Dominic. Larry, welcome. I think we're having a general conversation today regarding the state of our nation, the state of our nation's mindset. Maybe we should put it that way, Alex. Maybe that may be a better way to put it.
Yeah,
the state of the mindset of our nation, our people. Why are we struggling so much, right? I'm looking at and it is almost shocking. I was talking about having this conversation earlier with someone who was a diehard supporter of the president, or is still a diehard supporter of the president, but is kind of disappointed right now. And one of the things the president was highlighting to me was Senegal, right? And because my argument, the argument that I normally make, right, regarding the two-party issue and all of that. And this person was kicking back against it and saying, listen, Ben, you will be surprised. You may just be surprised that there may be a revolution is indeed about to happen in Liberia now, right? Because when you have a situation where the people went all out to support Joseph Boyka, right, knowing that the Unity Party was in power at one point in time, but he made a strong argument, or his people made a strong argument that he was not the one leading the charge, right? Even with the CDC, the election of President George Weah, someone from the slum, a leader who the people felt, will narrow their image. And then you have a situation where you come back to this. So my issue though is, like I said, why are we still struggling the way we're struggling? Alex, you were spot on when you said, the presidency is too powerful. The system, we talked about the fact that the system is, the system is not strong enough to withstand the shocks that we are talking about, right? Where a president can decide that he wants to violate the law when it comes to tenure positions, and the Supreme Court will render an opinion, and the people who were affected go back to the Supreme Court, and then they say, okay, no, you're on your own, right? I mean, where else should people go if they can't go to the Supreme Court? So, Larry, maybe you can chime in on this as far as mindset is concerned. Where are we headed as a nation? Tommy Lee is on the ground. He's talking about a lot of the challenges people are going through and people are talking about. We get calls from Liberia every single day. We know how people are challenged. When are we going to take this break? When are we going to cut? When are we just going to catch a break? When are we going to make this turn this curve that will lead us to where we want to see? Is this even possible in our lifetime?
At some point you got to have some optimism, right? But I tell you one thing though, Chairman, the thing that kind of surprised me, because I don't spend so much time on social media like I used to because of what I'm working on. But I was surprised when I went to Martin Kohli's page.
Yeah.
And then started reading his comments.
It's fascinating.
I was reading his comments, and we all know, I give Martin Kohli credit for stepping up the way he stepped up, right?
Yeah.
And when I started reading, I said, oh, wow, so this is what's actually taking place. It was very revealing what Martin Kohli.
Yeah.
And bear in mind now, Martin Kohli was a staunch supporter.
I think if there's a stronger word than staunch, give it to him.
Absolutely. Because for him to take on the name of, what was it, Rescue
Rambo.
Yeah, that means he was going all out. He was John J. Rambo. We all know the story of John J. Rambo, take no prisoners. So to see some of the posts by Martin Kohli, I was like, wait a second. The president needs someone to tell him the truth. Because I think what Ben, Tomalin, Choo, Doc, what you guys have seen is many times presidents will put themselves in a situation where they can't see the truth, or maybe they don't want to see the truth, but the people around them are keeping them in a bubble where they don't see what's going on outside of this bubble until it's too late, right? So at some point, I know there are some people very close to the president that would need to step up and say, look, listen, President Boycott, this is what's really going on. Because we're seeing a level of nepotism we haven't seen before. We're seeing a level of fraud that we haven't seen before. We're seeing waste of public resources that we haven't seen before. And you really, really need to take. It's still the administration is still in its infancy, right? It's not even a year old. It's still in its infancy. It's like a ship that the wind have blown off course, but they haven't gone so far off course that there's no way back now, right? But he's off course at a point where he can still turn the ship around and right the ship. Because when you see someone like Martin Kohli writing what he's writing, and you hear from people like Mr. John Malu saying what he's saying, but then you still have a few people who are supporters who are benefiting, but they still remain blind. You have to wonder, man, who is advising the president? The president needs people to come around and advise him. And the reason I say that, because things have changed. And Ben, Choo, you guys hear me say it all the time. Some of the new laws that the U.S. have passed in terms of dealing with sanctions and dealing with prosecution, those things now people need to pay attention to, because it's not so much about being sanctioned. It's more now about being sanctioned and prosecuted, because we know corruption is a threat to U.S. national security. So don't take it for granted. There's so many top government officials in other countries that the U.S. have not just sanctioned, but have extradited to the court in New York City. Top level, and I'm not talking about, I always talk about the guy from Mozambique, but I'm talking about other people from Latin America. So look, the country is rich in resources. It's so ridiculous when you see people like Vital Steel. You see what's going on with Western Cluster. These guys are making a killing. I don't think that people realize how much is being stolen from them. You got to look at the price of iron ore. Then you look at how much these guys are collecting in terms of iron ore, how much they're benefiting. You have a resource like iron ore that doesn't grow back. It's not going to come back. When it's taken, it's gone. When you look at what people like HPX is going to make from Guinea, these guys are paying a fraction of what they're going to make. You're talking about making like 10 to 15 billion. And then you're telling the people, oh, I'll give you 500 million. And sometimes you don't even give it. That's the kind of thing that go on in Africa that we need some good leadership to step up and say, look, whoa, we got to change the direction. There's no reason people in Liberia should be poor. That's absolutely none. None. You know, they should have people in Liberia, because of the resources Liberia has, they should have the ability. You should have millionaires in Liberia. You should have a lot of millionaires in Liberia. And you should be bringing people from other countries rather than you go into the interior or other parts or the rural areas to bring people into the city to come work. You should be going to other countries, like what happened in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, to bring people in, because everybody in Liberia should be rich. But it doesn't happen that way, because you have the legislators who take advantage of the resources for their own personal gain, but they don't want other people to elevate, because then they lose power and control over those people. So they don't want that to happen, you know. But how do we change this? It starts with good leadership. Nelson Mandela said it. He said, look, Africa has a leadership deficit. We have very few good leaders in Africa. And if you don't have good leadership, you're not going anywhere anytime soon. You're just going to be sitting in this cycle where you move from poverty, you take 2 steps forward to get out of poverty, then boom, something happens. You take 3 steps backward, and you got more people going to poverty. That's what happened during President Weah's administration. The poverty rate actually increased because the population is growing, and you're not growing the economy faster than the population grows. So you're putting more people in poverty. But I'm telling you, man, this thing's going to keep going on, and corruption is going to be so bad at some level that you're going to see the collapse of the government. Why am I saying that? It happened in Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
But they ran a scam. The guys that ran a scam where they sold almost $4 billion, the entire government had to collapse, because the American government Department of Justice managed to get $1.4 billion returned back to the country. So these are the kind of things that happen. Even in Lebanon, when we saw, I think it was, a couple of buildings collapsed. And people protested. The entire government was sacked. They had to step down.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a leadership thing, man. But what I saw on Martin Kweli's page today, it was kind of eye-opening.
Alex, you want to come in?
I just want to make Larry, I think that was what you call it, Sri Lanka. You're talking about, not Malaysia, right? Where the government collapsed.
No, it was Malaysia. It was Razak, the prime minister.
Also, it happened in Sri Lanka recently.
Yes, India. I don't know if Sri Lanka had one similar, but it was a fund that Malaysia started. I know because Goldman Sachs, an employee from Goldman Sachs, he received over $32 million in corrupt funds, and he got sentenced to 10 years. So I know for a fact it was definitely Malaysia.
Very good.
All right. So, Alex, do you want to chime? Because look, and talking about Martin Kweli, right? Look, hate him or love him, he's a passionate young man. I mean, we there was a lot of back and forth during the elections, but I want to say, I think what he's doing, I think look, for me, and this is where people can disagree with me, because I think what he's doing is what needs to be done. That's what he needs to do, right? When you support someone and you feel that the person is not living up to their end of the bargain that you guys signed up for, you disagree. I'm sure he probably tried doing it privately, like he probably have said over and over. But apparently, in Liberia, by the time leaders get elected, and one of the difficult things, Larry, is and Alex, is with Joe Boyka, everybody says Joe Boyka are their uncle. That's the other challenge I think this government has, right? Everybody says Joe Boyka are their uncle. Or ministers, that our Uncle Joe. People who are supposed to, even people in the national legislature. I've seen senators go and visit the president. That our Uncle Joe. I mean, imagine Speaker Mike Johnson, who I think is, how old is Mike Johnson? 40-something, 50-something, right around there.
Yeah, he's late 40s. Yeah,
late 40s, right? Imagine Joe Biden can borrow Speaker Mike Johnson. Imagine Mike Johnson going to the Oval Office and taking picture with him and coming out and say, "Oh, I went to see my Uncle Joe Biden." He's the Speaker of the House, though.
That would never happen.
I mean, and then they will say, "Okay, yeah, the African culture is," but some of these things we need to take stock of, because how do you disagree the way you want to disagree? How do you challenge the person the way you want to challenge the person if the person happens to be your uncle or your grand uncle? The whole cabinet feed the president at a pie. The whole cabinet, that the president, that his nephews and his nieces in his cabinet. So how are they going to even? I mean, I want to even. I just want to even see how cabinet meetings are. Are they saying Mr. President? Are they saying Uncle Joe? Are they afraid to disagree when he says something that is not in line with what? So I respect what Martin is doing. I don't agree with Martin on a lot of things that happened over the last couple of years. Because listen, I told him, he's a good friend of mine. He's a young brother of mine. I told him very clearly. I was very clear with him. I told him that he was betting on the wrong horse. I told him I was very clear about that. I wasn't saying go support WIA. If I was Martin, maybe he should have supported Gonglo. I don't know. Maybe he should have. Somebody else. But this anger towards we got to get rid of WIA at all costs is what got us in the situation I'm in. And I saw his last post today where he said, "Look, this man that I broke relationships for," and he did. He did. He went all out, and today he can't get his calls answered. He can't. Nobody's paying attention to him. Oh, right now in their mind, Martin is a little boy. That little piggy can tell her what to do. First of all, I can already, like Alex said, I've been around presidents. I can already predict what is going on. The president don't care if he into that kick to that ball. You try it right now, Mr. President. You open the floodgates. You got to show strength. Even if it's wrong, don't do it right now. Wait 6 months down the line before you do it. I saw that he also posted that the president, somebody from the mansion called him and told him that the president is about to publish his assets. Pray God, tell me, did they have to take Martin calling and everybody else calling for Joe Boyka to make his assets public? That's why I love the post that he did when he said, "What are you trying to hide at age 80?
Oh, he said,
age 80. Yeah, he did a letter to him, calling on him to publish his assets. And he said to the president, "What are you trying to hide at the age of 80? What are you trying to hide?" So I don't know, guys. I don't know, but Alex, you can come in. I mean, you are a maverick for saying you support something, and if the person pisses you off, I mean, you've done it to me. So I mean,
the fact here is
you are maverick on that.
No, the fact here is, Ben, when it comes to leadership or management, there's no uncle, there's no daddy, there's no,
and that's my point.
There's no grandpa. The moment you say that, even one time I had my discussion, I think I made some derogatory comment about Joseph Boakai, as I normally do. I don't even call him President Boakai, I call him Boakai. And somebody said this is a statement. And I was shocked because this person was a very, I thought, educated person. A statesman is someone who is retired. You can't be a statesman when you're still campaigning with your grandchildren and still fighting for position.
Yeah.
So as long as Joseph Boakai is in a political race, he's not a statesman anymore. And what I try to do, and a lot of people, I remember when I first started my tag on Joseph Boakai, a lot of people started to say, "Oh, the men are old men if you do their political career." And you know what I told them on the sideline? I said, that's exactly what I want to do, because I want to embolden the young people to stop seeing the mystique around these people as people who are higher than them, who deserve any more respect than we deserve. I'm a leader. Ben, you're a leader. Everybody in the line of leadership, anybody can be president so long you're 35 years old.
Of course.
So you have to, first of all, create the image that if I go and meet Joseph Boakai, I'm not going to go sit down on the floor with him. I'm not going to bow down to him. Let's get that very clear. I'm there to show the young people that it's a battle of the mind. If I have better ideas than him, then I'm more superior than him. You get the point. And that's why it would take a lot of Liberians to get away from the president, the chief, and all the, but that is completely primitive. That's for the traditional setting. That is not for, management or educational setting. I mean, Bill Clinton, all these people were younger than a lot of people. Even look at Sunak in the UK, right? 42-year-old old. How could he lead if he was looking at some of the people in parliament who could be his daddy and treating them like they were older than him? So that's the first problem we got to do, and we got to keep doing it. I don't care who's president. The president is just someone who has a position for a period of time. You can respect the position, but you should never let that person feel that they are more entitled than the rest of the citizens. The president's a servant to the people, not the other way around. So some of the point, but I get the point where Larry, I think in Liberia, like I said, the thing here is poverty is one issue. Okay, when you're poor and you're dependent, you take a different posture. Musa Billy can do what he's doing because he has money, obviously. All right. So now the question I want to ask everybody listening today: if the people in power know that their money, if they have money and power, will allow everybody to be subservient to them, why would they open the economy up? Why would they give you jobs? Why would they give you opportunity when the very fact that you're poor is what got them in power? That way you can see a chick.
Exactly.
How about chick?
Good point.
And a Larry who is, I would say, just as smart or 10 times smarter than him, will not get the same authority, or Ben or Alex. So these people want to stay in power. They're going to keep the country poor, right? Keep you unemployed, take all your girlfriend away from you, humiliate you that you got to go beg them, hold their bags, right? How will you have the courage then if you're begging them for data and begging them for stuff? So the only way out of Liberia is a complete revolution against the system and the old people, the old order. Disrespect them. Show them that you're not going to be hold to them. Insult them. That's the revolution we need. Let them know that they serve us. They are not better than us. In fact, we're more, and we'll never succumb to them anymore. And that's what the position Martin Colley is taking, just like you. I spoke to Martin Colley during the election. Very smart, bright man. Yeah. Why should he look at Joseph Boakai and feel that Joseph Boakai deserves to be president and not him?
Yeah.
You see that kind of idea? To me, he's more brighter. He doesn't want to tell the president what to do. He's the one telling the president to declare your asset. But because with that, we have that inferiority complex.
Yeah.
That reasons
the crap mentality.
I encourage you. Keep going the way you're going. It's a full scale. The gloves off. The gloves should be off. Because our future rests in.
And I agree with you 100%. And look, again, I have this is I just cannot. I'm not at liberty to call the name of the person that I spoke with, right? But this was the conversation. The conversation was so deep. It happened like around 2:00 last night. I went in my TV room because I didn't want to wake my wife up. So because the conversation started, it kept going. I said, what? Let me get her from that where go sit her before she, But Larry, the reason I said that in Peabody is the conversation evolved around none of us are perfect, right? All of us has fallen short.
Right.
Further, we try. Some of us still trying to get up. Some people still laying down on the ground. Some people don't get up, right? But when do we? Because let's also face it now, Alex, Peabody. We all come from the same kind of generation. Some a little bit older than you and myself, Larry is, Peabody is, but we all still find ourselves within that same, we call ourselves colleagues, right? We are not getting younger. I told someone the story of when I took my son to Liberia. And when we got off the plane, obviously we got there on United. I mean, we went through Accra, so we actually landed in the evening on a sky that he could see. We could see it was not in the night per se. And I remember driving from Robertsfield. That long drive from Robertsfield to ELW Junction, right? where there's virtually nothing. You don't see nothing but just bush and little small, some people building houses. And then there's different sprints, right? You got Marshall Junction, and I remember Benji kept asking me, so when are we going to get to the city? And I said, oh no, it's just, the airport is in another county. And I was trying to explain to him. And you know what he said to me? He said, but Dad, why don't they put billboards or something, right? He said, you know how like in the US, when you're traveling on the interstate, you there's a certain portion of the interstate where you don't see nothing, right? You just it's just bush, it's just it's just land. But you will see these little big billboards. It's something just so it just doesn't look so boring, right? And so I said, well, man, that's a great idea. When we got to ERW Junction, he saw LRA building and saw those other buildings. And we got on Tottenham Boulevard, driving up on Tottenham Boulevard. Benji still asked me, Dad, when are we getting to the city? And I said, well, you technically are in the city, right? And he said to me, but why does everybody look so poor? This was his first time going to Liberia. Why does everybody look so poor? Why does everybody just look sad? And I had no answer to give to my child. None whatsoever. I felt ashamed because guess what? This is the Liberia where I always run in and out of, well, Dad, where are you? Liberia. Dad, where are you? Liberia, right? The reason I bring that story up is because when do we get pissed the hell off to the extent, like Alex said, right? Where we cause good trouble. Where you saw what happened in Senegal. 10 days out of prison. 10 days out of prison. The young people's mind were made up. You could have kept Faye and Sonko in prison and put their name on a ballot. They would have still won the election. Now, are they perfect? Are the government gonna be perfect? Hell no. They're gonna make some mistakes. But sometimes, like we all say, the symbolism of power sometimes is even more greater than the actual act. The fact that young men and women can rise up and stand up in front of the status quo and say, to hell with y'all. So, Peabody, sitting on the old mat to plot the new one, that's another stupid thing we always say in that country. Because I think it's a stupid statement, to be quite honest with you. It's a very stupid statement. We got to sit on the old mat to plot the new one. I mean, when in Liberia, we say these foolish things. When in Liberia, we got to sit on the old mat to plot the new one. And like Alex said, we got to get disrespect. No, we got to get pissed off now. We got to get pissed off and say, yeah, we all not screw up. We all accept the responsibility. So you know what? Let's get pissed off to see what we can do to finally remedy the situation. Peabody, what are your thoughts?
Look, man, the fact that is, Eric said it first. Liberians have the mentality that if you're not old, you can't hold certain position. You can't be in a certain area, or you're not qualified because of age. They look at age more than qualification. In America, what to do? What State Department would do to go after the young brains around different universities and stuff like that. Young kids, big companies and things will take the young children because they come in with fresh ideas. And what happened? They can pay them less. And, the folk who've been there 30, 40 years, they know it's time to go. But have you seen anybody retire in Liberia? From the time I was baby, some of the people that work in government are still in government. You appointing Fahad, what's the guy to lead committee, investigate a whole committee.
Yeah.
People tell.
Yeah, he said a race. Yeah.
That are people that are coming with fresh ideas, even at university. Professionals there will go out and what? They have to continue writing, different journals and papers and things like that. But in Liberia, nobody retired. Nobody retired. They come in after 20 years. By the time I was in Liberia in high school, some of the people I knew are still in government. They still feel that they can bring change. And Liberian people hail them. Oh, yeah, going to Pape. The Pape been there 40 years. He got 40 years of experience of working in government. So he's the only one that can do it. The election time, if you ask people why you voting for for Joe Biden. Oh, he the only one that got experience. He had working government 40 years. He was vice president. He was director for LPMC and all of that. He know what government is. So no young people. The thousands of children that go to University of Liberia studying political science, graduating every year, did not qualify to hold certain area because they're not old. You got to wait until you get at least in your 40 or 50, then you can rule. And that's the problem we have. We still bringing these recycled folks, recycled politicians. Who is Joe Biden chief of staff? The minister of state. What's his name? I keep forgetting.
President Israel Affairs?
Grace Bay.
Grace Bay, yeah.
Like Grace will advise you on different things. Will tell you what to do. Who are someone he advised her? Dr. Abraham Conant, who been there forever. That kind of people you got around you who should advise you instead of bringing these young minds with fresh vision, with fresh idea to deal with this whole modern globalization, other thing to bring it around. He's not bringing that. He bringing the old folks. That people who were working 50 years ago, that 50-year idea will come and change Liberia. That's why we look like 50 years ago. Liberia is a 50-year-ago country. That's why we look like that. Because you're bringing old people up to change things. How are you going to change? Some of the people don't even have, they don't even have emails. And you are putting them in government to be leaders and to lead. How are they going to lead? How are you going to do it?
Larry, we live in the 21st century. We are in the age of artificial intelligence. If anybody asks our president at this moment, what is artificial intelligence, you think he would know what it is? If anybody were to listen, and guess what? Guess what? The G8 right now is actually a agenda item on the G8. The issue of artificial intelligence, right? Rwanda. I was watching something the other day on YouTube. You know, this is what I do research. I do of late. I go on YouTube now. I hardly even watch regular TV anymore, right? I go and I put YouTube on the big TV and I just watch these different, documentaries and educational things. I mean, that's what you do when you're young and vibrant and you think you want to think outside the box, right? You want to because you keep learning. It's like you keep learning. And I feel that's one of the problems we have in Liberia because my generation is still closed in. So even the pissing off that we're talking about, it has to take a certain level of enlightenment for you to get pissed off. It's like what the Arab Spring, right, Larry? Mm-hmm. It took what a boy named who was selling what he was selling, oranges or something, some fruit.
Yeah,
and the police. And the police guy went and took his fruit or something, and he got pissed off and went in front of the police headquarters and set himself on fire. And that gave birth to the Arab Spring. Because at the end of the day, it was almost like, okay, this is symbolic. You guys need to stop this craziness. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over, and then you think you're gonna get, you're not gonna, the pressure cooker is not gonna, the top is not gonna fall, it's not gonna fall over. It's the same thing that happened in the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and the top fell over in the 80s. We are treading down that same path again. Because I remember clearly, I said over and over that the Liberia we are dealing with today, guys, it's not by mistake. This is not an accident. You don't spend a century not educating a nation and expect to have a functional society. The same thing Alex said. In the 50s, in the 60s, the Truman Party guys felt that by keeping the majority of the country locked up, uneducated, blinded, they were going to continue with the dominance. Mm-hmm. But it just took one master sergeant or a group of armed men who decided, you know what, to hell with their foolishness. I think Emma Sawyer, there was a documentary, and Emma Sawyer said there was a point when Torba had asked for Guinean troops to come to Liberia. And when the army got upset about it, he came downstairs in his pajamas to talk to them in the form of an appeal. And those guys looked at the president and said, oh, but we got something that we know we got. Why the whole president coming down in his pajamas to come beg us? Boom! Months later, the coup happens. But the reason I bring that up is to say, like Alex said, like you said, like all of us are saying here, right? Look at the national legislature, man. Somebody play a video today of my friend Dylan saying that he was only going to take $5,000. The video is out there. When the last time Dylan took only $5,000?
Tell me about it.
You know? So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's going. In order to change the trajectory, in order to change the direction Liberia is heading in, it's going to be extremely difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say that is, it's like you have a pot or you have a basket with a whole bunch of apples, and a lot of the apples in that basket is just terrible. You stick your hand in that basket, the chance of you selecting a very good apple is like slim. The probability is real slim. You have to fix all of the apples in the basket in order to know that when you put your hand in, you will come out with a very good apple. Because we've seen this, right? We've seen a complete turnover of the legislature. And a new group that came in, they ended up doing the same thing. People were having high hopes. I just hear you talking about Dylan. People had extremely high hopes on Dylan. He does a lot of talking. He promotes himself at a level where you're like, wait a second, this is kind of bordering on sort of like narcissism at a certain point, right? But Dylan had that moniker of being the light in what happened. But because Dylan comes from a society that is challenged, he tries his best to do the right thing. But in some instances, sometimes your best is not good enough, right? But it's the society as a whole. And if you look at the research, right, because Asimoglu and Robinson, Darren Asimoglu and Robinson did that book called Why Nations Fail. And the two top reasons that they stress, there are multiple reasons why nations do not do well, because we see what is the poorest country right now in the over here in North America is Haiti. So if you look at why nations fail, the research turned out, it starts first with the institutions. If you don't have very good institutions, or if you have institutions that power is just in the hands of just a very few people, and power is not spread out, you're not going anywhere. And that's what you see in Liberia, because it looks like all of the power is vested in the executive branch and the legislature, and they're not spreading it around. So as a result, they keep it in that cycle, in that circle rather, they keep it in there, and they push everybody else out. That's the one main reason why nations fail. And when you see other countries that are doing well, they started off by building the institution. Which country has the best record of transparency in terms of corruption in Africa? It's Botswana. But what Botswana ended up doing before they started hitting on their wealth, Botswana set up very good institutions to deal with corruption. That's why you can see Botswana. I've seen videos of Botswana arresting government officials at the airport who thought it was so big and bad they couldn't be arrested. I've seen government officials get arrested because they were treated as a criminal, arrested, handcuffed, and taken away. You have to fix the institutions. Then you need a leader with vision. If you don't have a leader with vision that can say, oh, you know something, this is where I want to take my people, you're not going anywhere, right? So you need vision. You need visionary leaders. And that's why you see some of the countries that are doing extremely well, they have visionary leaders. But in all, man, to turn Liberia around, you can't do it from the inside out. It's never going to happen. It's not going to happen because the people on the inside that control the power, the people that we need to make changes in the laws, the rules, the regulations, they're the ones benefiting so much from the way the system is that they're not going to change it. Why would anyone want to take a pay cut when they're enjoying so much with such high salaries? They got so many benefits. They're not going to do that. And you need them to pass a law to repeal some of the things that they are enjoying. They're not going to do it. So the system's not going to change anytime soon, right? Because you're saying that the salary is so high. Who can change it? The same people.
The same people, yeah.
Are they going to change it? Are they going to change it?
No.
They're not going to change it? Because
so that's where, like Alex Jones said, you need a revolution.
Yeah.
Maybe y'all go protest to the national legislature and y'all lock them in there. I mean, y'all say I'm calling for the people to vote, but listen, maybe this is what needs to happen. Go there, go sit there. None of them leaving until they reduce their salaries. They see if they won't do it. Look, let me tell you something, Larry.
Who set himself on fire in front of?
In our Achipompong, and the country laugh at Achipompong.
Achipompong did.
He set himself on fire. They laugh at him. In fact, they told him he was stupid.
Yeah.
They say he was stupid.
Mm-hmm. Other countries, it led to the Arab Spring. Achipompong did it.
Well, in Liberia, they said Achipompong was stupid. They laughed at him. I remember we were on Spoon. We Spoon raised money and offer for Achipompong.
Yep.
I
Achipompong got over $10,000. Yep.
I remember, right? So my thing though is, look, let me say this. You know, I was saying, I had a conversation with Samuel Tuer once. This was a couple of months ago, right before the election. And we were talking about some of the decisions, you know, the life-altering decisions. I mean, or the moment, the certain moments of the We Are presidency, right? And Tuer said to me, he said, Ben, do you know we got serious about paying salaries? And this is just an example of what people's action, and Alex Jones would love this because he comes from the radical side of things, right? He said, you know what we decided that we were going to start paying? You know what, we took it serious and we came out with a policy that, because the We Are government policy was, whenever money gets in the consolidated account, right, they take out 80% of that money, even at $10, right? They'll take out 80% of that money and put it aside for salary until they reach their 20 million or whatever a month, right? What gave rise to that policy? Do you remember the famous, and I think it was in May of 2018, the famous picture when the children sat in front of the president's convoy? You remember when We Are was going to work, there was a powerful image. Somebody took that image from on top of the what's the place in the foreign ministry, and those school kids barricaded the president's convoy and sat on the ground, and the president could not move, and they did it right in front of the Pan-African Plaza, right in front of the UN headquarters, so he couldn't go to work. What was their angle? Private school students are going to school,
right,
and they're not going to school because their teachers are boycotting because their teachers are not getting paid. That singular action made the government to come up with a policy to say, you know what, if we are not careful, right now they barricaded a convoy in front of Pan-African Plaza, the next time they probably may go to a house, right? So this is what we're talking about, guys, right? Again, Alex, you are coming to you. Is this the time for Liberians to get Liberians? Are we just supposed to get pissed off now and say, you know what, to hell with this thing? Alex Jones.
Yeah, I'm here. Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me? All right. So it's
Yes,
good that you
we
mentioned Samuel Tuer in your conversation, because I was just reading an article here. It ties up in what we're talking about here, right? All right. And the article says Minister Tuer can be loyal to the president and still disagree with some of the outrageous political campaign rhetorics of his party. After all, he's the Minister of Finance of the Republic of Liberia and not the Finance Minister of CDC or Josh Weah, going to meet the president at the airport after each foreign visit when he should be busy making sure our banks are well managed and capitalized and our civil servants are paid on time is ridiculous for a man with his intelligence and stature. You know when that article was written? August 14, 2019.
Wow.
Okay.
So how history repeat itself?
I wrote that article. You know what?
Oh, you wrote that article?
So I wrote that article. I put it right now. It's on front page Africa right now. Okay. So when you see Senegal people saying that the president decided not to go to the airport, I mean not to have his minister come there, that's not Senegal, innovation. This is 2019. Okay. 2019. The reason I'm saying this is every time I hear people like, okay, Tewan Gonglo, I respect Tewan Gonglo. I helped launch his campaign. Okay, I consulted him. There's nothing personal. He's a fine man. But at this stage in time, in this 21st century, where you're talking about AI, you're talking about blockchain, okay? Tewan Gonglo is not fitted for that kind of position. Neither Joseph Boakai, neither even Alice Cummings. They are too old. A few 5 years from now, Alice Jones will not be fitted. You need the people who come in or in their 30s and 40s to catch up with it, with society. So that's my point. The thing is, when I come on these shows, I understand most people in Liberia can't even afford data. Okay, most people in Nigeria don't watch these things. My outrage is at my colleagues, you guys. You're the finest, the brightest. And we sit and we support these same people. And we get stuck in America, and then we expect them to change the system and put a red carpet for us to come, when we should be revolting against them and leading the way, so that the people who back home, who don't know, who are not educated, can look at us and say, you know what? If Alex or Ben or Peabody can take the lead and disagree with whether it's George Weah or Boakai or whoever, and say we need real fundamental change and reform in Liberia, I'm with him. So that's who my anger is against, us.
Yeah, but Alex, let me
allowing them.
Alex, I want to say something, and I think it was a little unfair, because for me, I think, let's look at Cummings, right? Let's look at Cummings. You bunch Cummings up. Yes, Cummings is the same age as Gonglo and Naju.
About Cummings again. Let's use Gonglo. Let's use different example.
Because no. I want to speak specifically about Cummings, because you talked about some of the things that we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
But let's be fair to him, right? Those are some of the things that he talked about.
But he's too old. He's retired. The time Cummings, listen.
But what I'm saying,
give me 1 second here. The reason why Cummings retired from Coca-Cola, Cummings pushing 70 years old. Okay, 70 years old. Are there the Echo Bank? Listen. The Echo Bank CEO, group CEO right now is a Kenyan. He's 53 years old. The guy who he took the job from was 60 years old. Okay, it doesn't mean that Cummings should be pushing younger people in ANC and be standing behind them. Nothing to take nothing away from him. That's the problem we have, is that our leaders don't know how to transfer the torch. All the companies today, Google, Bill Gates funded Microsoft. Why do you think Bill Gates stepped aside and brought Sanjay in?
I don't think that's a bad. I don't think what you were saying.
That's my argument. Good leadership is knowing when to transfer. First of all, if you don't have someone you can transfer to your organization, you're a bad leader. You're a bad leader, because you can be hit by a boss. The first day you take any leadership position, and Larry's a professor, can say that. The first thing you should do is make sure tomorrow, if I can't wake up, my company or my party or whatever it is, or my country can run even better than me. That's what happened today with Google and Microsoft and all these companies, and now even in England and El Salvador and all these countries. So this is not personal. It's just that after I did finance and technology almost 15 years ago, the kids that graduate today, okay, 23 years old kid, that know more derivatives and more, because when I went to school, some of these things were not in the textbooks. So if I'm leading a company, my first job is first to promote these people and make them so that they can take over. Our people don't know. Cummings ran in 2017. He ran in 2023. What, you ran in 2029?
Well, he hasn't said he's running. That'd be fair to him. He hasn't said he's running. We don't know if he's going to run in 2029, right?
Anybody over 60 years old and who have ran a party for a while and don't have a successor is a bad leader. Same thing with George Weah. George Weah, listen, I like the man. He done his share. Okay, he done his part. What he should be doing now is to look for good, competent young people, a new face in CDC, that even in 2029, when they come to say, wow, we even recognize this CDC. Samuel Tour, look for new people. Nobody has, what you call over knowledge. That's the problem in Liberia. That's why Joseph Boakai can be 80 years old. He's still running his party. He's still political leader of his party. Mo Ibrahim said the thing. Mo Ibrahim said it. He said, Africa is the only continent where people almost going to their grave. They can't even walk good. They still running for first term.
Yeah.
He's chairman for a company now. You got young people running it. What's wrong with saying without taking away anything from you? No, Ben, that's the point. So that revolution that Martin calling there, that the time to to start putting it into position so they can be able to lead Liberia by 2030. You want a man to be 50 years, 60 years old? You think I won't be doing the nonsense when I'm 55 years old? Fighting for Liberia?
I'm already
Well,
I already dream.
So Alex, what age you want to cap people from running?
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
What are you proposing?
What age? What do you think is a good age to cap?
Because first of all, you got to look at what the population is and look at what your capability is. I understand that in some countries you don't have capable people, for certain positions, right? That's not the case with Liberia. That's not the case with Liberia. In Liberia, I can tell you, everybody on the platform here, we probably got more degrees and more knowledge and more experience than our forefathers. We can probably do everything better than them, smarter than them, faster than them, than all the people who ran Liberia. So at 65, you understand? Or a political system where the average age in Liberia is 18, at 65, 70, and the thing when I say leave from office, I don't mean you have to retire. Bill Gates left from Microsoft almost 15 years ago. Bill Gates did not retire. Al Gore King, he ran as president, vice president. He retired, he went and set up a company, and he became a multi-millionaire, won a Nobel Peace Prize. So
let me try another way. Let me try another way.
Why should a foreigner be running EcoBank? In a country where you got some people like Larry, myself, that can, the chairman for EcoBank, you think more educated than Alex Jones in banking and finance, or more educated than Larry?
That's a good point, though, Alex.
No, because the people, everybody's going to government.
What age? What age is it?
Nobody in government over 70 years old should be running for a position at 70 years old. You should be retiring. You should be serving on board.
I mean, that's a point, though. I mean, that's the point. But what about developed countries? We look at Europe. We look at America.
Well, people, the argument could be made for those developed countries.
This is just a general rule. It does not mean that if somebody, like I said, if you don't have someone, if no young person won't run for office, and I qualify, then you get every right to say, let's bring even 90-year-old person. But you can't be competing against you. All of you got children. You can't be competing for the same position with your children, and then you're expecting your children, and they're fighting all the food for your children. You have built your life. You have 40 years to build your life. 50 years, you serve in a position, whether you're senator or representative. At 65, 70, there are people in your county too that you should have mentored, send them to school, give them so that you can be able to transfer it. So when I see a Tewan Gongolo, I see like, what the heck? Come on. So that's why we are backwards. That's why we wonder what Rwanda does. They go and bring all the young graduates. I have friends that work at Lehman Brothers in Rwanda. By the time you work 2-3 years, they recruit you back in Rwanda, you're a minister or deputy minister. Tanzania, all these countries. Liberia is the only country where, for instance, Tuba there was Moja chairman for 1970 before I was even born. He's still Moja chairman today. That's our fundamental problem. The young people and where I consider our generation, right, are not participating in the economy. Then we get old, and by the time we get an opportunity to get in the economy, that almost we have missed. We don't have the scene. The technology has grown. We are way behind.
That's the mentality of the Liberian.
So let me ask. I want to ask Alex one more question because I think it's a fascinating discussion. Fascinating discussion that we're having here. Is this about the leaders? Or is it about the people?
People, man.
Is it because I think you are being a little unfair, and I like this. This is like I said, I like this conversation. I think you're being a little unfair to the people. Not to the people. I think you're being a little unfair to the leaders, because there has never been a time, right, where, okay, let's say Alex Cummings, right? Let's go back to Alex Cummings. Alex Cummings ran in 2017. He was much younger than what he is now, right? Than what he was. He was 6 years younger than he was in 2023. But we said Alex Cummings was too new. There were other young candidates in the race. I ran for the Senate in 2014. I was 32 years old? Yeah. I was 32. And they said, Ben, wait your time. You're young. You still got time ahead of you. You know? So is this about the leaders or is it about the people? Our people just infatuated with, you know, with the ladder system, with the fact that you got to have scar, let it Joe Boycott thing, right? You had a CPP where everybody was supposed to compete. But all of a sudden, in the middle of the game, everybody said, oh no, how can he even fathom? How can he even begin to think that Joe Boyka should not be the head of this CPP because Joe Boyka has been vice president? So is this more of a society thing? Is this more of a people thing? Is it just who we are inherently as a nation? That we would rather go, like I said, to sit on the old map to plot the new one, than to say, you know what, we would take a risk. We'll take the risk. Like America took the risk with Barack Obama. It doesn't mean that John McCain, in fact, John McCain, two instances.
Mm-hmm.
Hillary Clinton was way more qualified when you look at paper compared to Barack Obama. The young people catapulted Obama in the Democratic primaries, smashed the Clinton machinery. Then we went to the general. In any other presidential year, John McCain would have gotten elected, decorated, everything. I mean, when you talk about the consummate American who were born, bred, raised, a whole life, everything he was doing, you could see him pointing straight to the White House, right? That was John McCain. POW, they tied him in Vietnam. He came, he survived. He even was waving, they tell the way he used to even wave his hand. He was made, he was being baked to be president. And here comes the kid with a funny name. He comes and takes it from him. So, like I said, that was the young people, that was the Generation Z in this country daring to believe. Where is that for us, Alex?
Okay, first of all, let me clarify one thing. You know who pushed Barack Obama? It was one of the old people, Tom Daschle. Okay, Tom Daschle was the one who really pushed Barack Obama.
He encouraged him to run.
Okay,
he encouraged him to run.
The point I'm making here, we saw it in Senegal, because if we come to America, it becomes very complicated.
Okay,
what the young people and the middle class people, and even the old people in Sierra Leone did, they say, you know what, we tried the other people there, it didn't work with.
So, but that's what I'm saying. So economically, socially, people, Alex, it's on the people, though. It's on the people.
No, but when you say the people, okay, Alex, in every society, Ben, you have the intelligentsia. Okay, when you say people in Liberia, right, the people who are on the media, the people who get to write, the people who get to read newspaper, the people who get to in every society from Roman's time. What those people decide? Just like I can tell anybody, a Liberia election is decided in America and voted in Liberia. What the people in America want, that what happens. I can tell you can go back to
the diaspora.
The people did not want trouble. You go back to Doe ignore the people in America, you go back to Taylor. So because the reason why we have that power is because we are the middle class. We have more education. Everybody in Liberian government right now in top position either got educated in America or at some point most of them came to America, with the exception of a few like Snow and people there, right? So we determine, okay, just like where we say we want to we are, and we are came in power, and we want to Burger. You think who are running Burger campaign? You think where Burger are raising funds from local country? The problem is we don't have confidence in ourselves because we are selfish. If I see Larry tomorrow, me and Larry are colleagues, and Larry says he wants to be president tomorrow, the first time I was like, man, I'd rather go behind Joseph Walker or go behind Josh Weah because I feel me and Larry on the same level.
So then
why should I let Larry tap me?
So then you're making my point. So let Larry and Peabody come.
We now, not the people. We the intelligentsia.
So we the intelligentsia. You're saying the diaspora. You're saying Liberians in the diaspora have not been able to
And
take
back home,
that bull by the horn to be able to, because your point is, and you are making a strong point, that every president the diaspora has risen up against, right? Every president the diaspora rise up against meets its Waterloo. That is a fact. That is not a lie,
Yeah.
right? The diaspora stood behind Ellen in her 2 terms. She went for 2 terms, right? So,
Right.
well, yeah. So Larry, do you want to chime in, because we got to wrap this thing up by 7:30? So.
Yeah, so it's fascinating. You know, when I hear these kind of conversations, I'm thinking, well, you know, is it true that age is such a factor in discovering a good leader? Is age a factor? Then I'm saying, well, wait a second. Nelson Mandela was 75 years old when he became president of South Africa, and he turned out to be a very good leader. So
And
age
you
can
went to
be
step aside.
yeah, exactly. And then you see,
and he stepped aside.
Because guess what? Mandela could have been president for life. Now, one human being, nobody who had ever questioned.
that is correct.
Nobody who had questioned.
But you see how,
for even 3 terms.
but you see, it was good leadership in terms of, you know, he stepping aside when he knew the time was right. That shows a sense of leadership. But it wasn't determined based on his age as a determining factor of whether he's a good leader.
It's his character.
It could have been maybe because he was 75 years, so
His
people felt
character.
he was an experience, or it could have been because of the time that he spent in prison, the number of years, and they said, you know, he deserved it. So, but it's a situation where you have a young person, because then you talk about Barack Obama. So then a young person comes in, and when Barack Obama came in, right after Barack Obama came in, boom, Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, all these major financial institutions failed. We had the financial crisis. Barack Obama was also the guy who spearheaded, sitting in the Situation Room that went after Bin Laden, the architect of 9/11.
When all the old people told him not to do it.
Exactly. And it was a good strategy. So Barack Obama, in his young age, he showed good leadership. So you have a mix between, I don't want to say it's a crapshoot. You know, you're playing, you know, you're throwing dice and you end up with a good leader. But the one thing elections turn out to be, people make promises when they're running for office, and you never know what you're going to get when you get into office. You may end up with someone who's a very good leader because they have vision, or you may end up with someone who talk the talk, but they get in office and make a complete 360, and then you don't know what you end up with.
True.
So Alex raises
Joe Biden said he will release his assets to the public. He become president. He said he's not going to do it.
Yeah, but you see, when you sit on VOA and you right, so you don't need somebody to tell you to release your asset, right? Because you already have the vision to set the standard going forward. You're not following people to tell you to release your asset before you do it, because you already say you're going to do it before you even take office. So Alex, I don't even know what the answer is. Is it the age that's driving it? Because
Is it character?
Not just age. You got to be qualified too, Larry.
It's character.
You got to be qualified too. You got to have good character. You know, you can just take in a young person and put it in a position and say. So, and I always clarify that. Whether old or young, the person has to be experienced. They have to be knowledgeable. They have to have good morals, and they have to be someone of leadership caliber. But in our society, we do have some of those people. We do have, like, for instance, let me give you an example. Molu would have been a better president, in my opinion, if the Unity Party, if Burger would have said, you know what, I'm gonna bless Molu. This guy is sharp. This guy is young. This guy has demonstrated good leadership, right? Let me not be selfish. I've already been there, right? I'm too old. Let me put my word. You think that Molu wouldn't have been popular and wouldn't have probably won the election? But what I'm seeing, the old people are too selfish. They're too selfish. They're too greedy.
What I think
in our society,
what I think has been the winning strategy. Then I'll swing it to Doc real quick. What has been the winning strategy? It's not so much of for me now, just my opinion. It's not so much of the person's age, but when the person come in power, who they surround themselves with. If you come, think about the very best football team on the planet, right? Some of the top football teams, right? Whether it's Barca, whether Barcelona, Real Madrid, all these other teams. Then, when the coach comes in, he doesn't put people that based on tribe. He doesn't put people that because they come from the same, country or something like that. He put them that based on qualification. So regardless of the person's age, if they come in and they surround themselves with highly, which is what Barack Obama did.
Yeah, you take it out of my mouth right there.
Right?
So that was why I wanted everybody to close on. I wanted us to segue on that conversation on character. Michelle Obama said the presidency doesn't change the person. It reveals who the person is.
That's true.
Right? Because because it brought me back to the previous conversation me and Alex was having when he said there's just too much power in the presidency, right? True, but yet and still, well, maybe if you are a person of character, if you're someone who has an agenda and this is what I want, like when you campaigning, right? You know it and you say, oh, I want to do all these things. But then you take the job and then you let the job change you. No, the job didn't change you. The job just exposed who you were. That's the person you are.
You are suppressing who you
are suppressing that
until you got in and boom, it revealed itself.
And then by the time you get the job, it reveals you. So you talk about it and let people come in and then we can all just close together. Like I said, we're gonna wrap this.
Look, I'll break Caribou on, but
but I don't know what the guys holding this thing. He
want to
come. He's on the phone.
Let me just.
Let Caribou 1 second, 30 seconds, so he can chime in on this.
Caribou, go ahead.
Let's end this. 1 second, everybody. Let Caribou, and he can chime in on this also. Caribou,
are you guys hearing me?
All right, go ahead.
All right. Great show. Unfortunately, we could not join because on a reason, I don't know. You guys don't have control of the show. I called people. I will not send the studio in Monrovia. I have to admit us in, so we can get in. So, look, Alex Jones, your argument you made, I'm not calling because you mentioned Castor Bongo. You mentioned Alexander Cumming. We even had this before, Alex. I think Ben and
you got a lawyer your computer Caribou, load
all right.
Go ahead now.
Am I okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, so the argument you're making is an old age argument. It's not the first time Alex Jones has come with an age. But if you listen to Alex very keenly, he contradicts himself. He used Rwanda as an example. He said Paul Kagame, who is 66 years old today, and I think he still got a couple of years to go, and probably might even contest again. In fact, I think they removed the term limit on Rwanda. He can keep going. Okay? Alex Jones said they send their citizens to Harvard, to other school, when they come to make them ministers. Alex, the common example, look in the Liberia legislature. How many old people are there? So young people. Are they doing the best job for the country? From 2006 to present, look at the performance of the legislature. They are the least in public opinion in the country. And so young people. Some of them, they are in their 30s. Most of them in their 40s. Majority of them in their 40s. So look at that performance. Can you say argue an age on that? Look at the profile of the ministers under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and look at even the profile under George Weah. Look at what Volker has now. Like the young people, they are the leaders of the country. The country, age has got nothing to do with your judgment, your character. You are who you are based on your conviction. Okay? And when the man you support the granted your presidency, the presidential ambition to Moneyback here on the show, when Moneyback appeared, Moneyback said when he went to campaign, he told the people, vote for me not because I'm young, vote for me on my character, my education, and my integrity. If I don't have those, don't vote for me. He said age does not matter because you got worse young people as well as you got worse old people, Alex. The issue of age, as educated as you are, is not a variable to use because the contour is so easy. Because we can look across Africa. Countries have made progress compared to Nigeria. Are they being led by young people? Look at Ghana. How many young people have led Ghana? But there are many young people in the Ghanaian parliament who have helped Ghana to go in the direction Ghana is. Look in Nigeria. Look in Rwanda. Look across Africa. Look at Kenya. To be leaders in the country is not just about the presidency. Except you believe in a vertical leadership, but you believe in horizontal leadership, then you got to look at the different levels of society. Where leadership role is important. The parliament, the cabinet, the judiciary. Look at the judges in Nigeria. They're mostly young law school graduates who are judges. See how corrupt. Look at the rating of the judiciary. You say at your age also, given the performance of the Liberian judiciary, Alex. So
Thank you. Let me respond to that, man,
argument
please.
that it is
I'll give you 1
intellectually
minute.
not sound. Your argument
Okay.
is intellectually not sound. It's not grounded because there's no data to
Okay.
bite you, Alex.
So Calabo,
You
stay
make
on. Let me
sounds
respond to
clean.
you.
I'll end on this. You make sounds clean.
Y-
When you pull out your own article about, I think 2019, you mentioned, you say what Senegal president did, you try to infer that it copied from your article, which is misleading. You almost came to say it was nothing new. In 2019, I wrote this about not going to the airport to welcome president. You go back and listen to that clip. You almost try to take credit that it is because of what you wrote in criticism of Samuel Toure that is the new president of Senegal. The new president of Senegal is so progressive. This guy has a character. I read him. He went to the institute after he left the law school and studied to become a constituent administrator. And he chose the area, I think, constituent examinations or examiner also. And he worked. He joined the NEO. It is the constituent NEO. His activism, his fight against corruption in the Customs Bureau that got him also.
All right,
to
Calabo,
employ
we
the
gotta wrap
party.
up. We only got 6 minutes. We gotta go.
Yeah.
So, Alex, I just want you to you make
Just
yourself
1
look
minute. Let me
stupid
respond to
out
him
on this
because
page.
Calabo
All
lived in
right.
America here,
All right,
right?
Calabo, thank you.
Calabo
Thank you.
lived in America.
Alex, you got
Yeah,
2
just 1
minutes.
minute.
Now we got 2
Dr.
more
Baba.
minutes to go. Yeah.
Yeah, just 1 minute. I just want to make the very point here because it's this uncertain in America that we live here. Everything is based on age. If you're 18 or 21 years old, you cannot drink. You can serve in the army, but you cannot drink. Our constitution says that you got to be 35 years old to run for office. That's not it based on age. So why, when it comes to even the retirement age here, everything is based on age. So that's not something new that only when it comes to Liberian presidency and Liberian leadership, now then we say age doesn't matter. Age does matter. It has to do with your health. It has to do with your aptitude. It has everything. At a certain age, we recognize, even in the army, at a certain age, you can join. So that thing you're talking here, age doesn't matter. You know, it's like moving the goalpost to where it suits him. And I don't think Ghana, I wrote a paper on Ghana in the last election, and I said that Odo and John Mahama were too old. Those people been circling around Ghanaian politics for the last almost 30 years. That's why Ghana is declining today. That only Liberia can look at Ghana and say that Ghana is a wonderful country. Ghana is economically done. They had to run to the IMF. If you want to talk about country, look at Mauritius, look at Cape Verde, look at Botswana. Ghana and Nigeria, we had a good man, Obi, what a man in Nigeria. We sat down there, Peter Obi. We sat down there and we go bring the other man here. Look at Nigeria today again. It's a laughing stock. The other day he had to fall down from the airplane or a car. Jeff recently.
I do
What has
believe
he
Peter
done?
Obi will be the next president, though.
To me, say I think he's too old. There are 100,000 Peter Obis in Nigeria. Let us stop looking at one people, Ben. If you ain't get this 1 point yet, you will never get in like, bro. We would think that one person, let's start, they may only call because that his brother. I understand that. I understand that your brother. But you got
to close.
I understand your brother needs to retire too.
Call again, please. Okay. Thank you. We hear you, Larry. To your closing.
I think that was closing.
We're going by again to Larry.
Everybody knows.
I let you know how to. You don't know how to make the people. Yeah, man. Well, like,
Coming for to be calling to.
But I think the thing that we have to do on some of the platforms is we have to educate the people. And I think by educating the people, it would make a huge difference. It would make incremental difference, right? In terms of eventually changing the dynamics of Liberia. But one thing that we notice that sometimes when we take to the airwaves or when we take to social media, we need to, again, stop bashing other people. I'm not talking about, in such a denigrating way, but we need to be open-minded and give people the opportunity to express themselves. We don't have to agree with what Alex Jones is saying.
I agree. And that's why I keep saying
You don't have to
right to his opinions.
Exactly. But people don't have to go ballistic and try to assassinate his character and stuff. He has a right to his opinion. And look.
And actually, that's why I love Alex, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. If we
I love you too, Ben.
We all end up dead. So I appreciate bringing different opinions because then it gives me a chance to test my opinion to see if what I'm saying makes sense. So I welcome difference of opinions. And by doing so, we can educate others.
And I think Alex Cummings would love Alex Jones. I think Alex Cummings would love Alex Jones. The Alex Cummings that I know will have a heck of a
he got a lot of patience, though. He would really love Alex.
Yeah, Alex Jones comes on this show. He says,
why Alex Cummings can't come on the closing argument? That's somebody
that one he been here during the election. But
no, I mean after the election. After the election.
I think he's just cooling off. I see him been making little appearances here and there. I saw him today with Morales driving. I think he's coming back into the fold.
We want political leaders to come on a discussion forum.
Discussion. Let
you join the panel. Let you tell his idea. Let people know he is curious. Then we have Alex Jones can come here.
Look, I want 30 seconds. Look, we're winding up because this.
Look, I will go, man. Where 30-second story here?
I just got
the comments will come in.
Great show, and it was wonderful listening to you guys. But with that said, though, let me close on this note, right? Alex, you knew of this age thing all along, but you went to make the case for President Boakai, Vice President Boakai at the time, on focus on Liberia.
See that cantankerous statement? I want to leave tonight,
That's all I want to know. You know all of that.
All right, we hear you.
So let me focus on him.
Okay, tell him happy birthday, man. We should die happy birthday. 70th birthday.
Tell him happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday for the closing argument, man. All right, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right.
I'll do it. Someone call too. So let all of that
everybody come in now.
Yeah, because then we control.
We're
controlling that whole.
You got Robert, and Robert, don't call my phone. Don't call my phone. I'm not putting on. I'm telling you, don't call my phone.
Chris is mad. Chris is mad. They didn't bring Chris on, but
they didn't bring Chris. No. Oh my God.
Chris really have Liberia. I think the radio just went off too. So
so we gotta wrap up. But guys, it was fascinating conversation, guys. And I like these kind of shows, right? Freestyle. It's nothing overly processed. People they started, he was frustrated when he started talking about a country. Liberia, Liberia can just pay you. Your head can just when you think about Liberia. But this is the country we love. There's nowhere. Look, I tell people all the time, Larry, I say, every time I go to Liberia, right? As dysfunctional as it can be sometimes, it's still home. There is just something about that place that keeps you loving it and wanting to see her do better. And so we would never stop. We're going to keep this pressure up. Like Alex said, maybe it's time for us to get pissed off. We just need to get pissed off. And, Alex is going to lead the revolution to retire all the people.
Ben, let me say this real quick, right? I'm going to vote for Alex when he turns 70 years old. Choo Choo Jones, when you hit 70, I will vote for you.
Not running as president.
Oh,
you're not running as president? Okay.
Not even running as 60.
We will write him in.
He didn't fall for it. But it was great. It was great being here, guys.
All right, guys.
Great being here.
You have a great weekend, man. Happy Father's Day to everybody.
Who will cut the thing off? The men will cut the thing off in the studio? Because
I guess. We got to go. There's nothing we can do. Happy Father's Day to everybody.
Call me or somebody.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Happy Father's Day to everybody. Happy Father's Day, guys.
Same here.
Happy
same
Father's
here.
Day, Ben. Doc.
Okay. Bye.
All right, team.